And a glorious, wonderful day to everyone out there. We are here doing the lessons of A Course in Miracles on this channel. Welcome if you are new. I'm so glad to have you. Today we're going to be studying lesson number 86. And for those of you keeping up with what I have going on, today is day 4 of my post-water fast refeeding process. And everything is going wonderful. I'm enjoying some small portions of amazing, fresh, ripe Costa Rican fruit. And as the days go on, our portions get larger and larger. So over the past 3 days, they've grown. And today and for the remainder of the time we're doing the refeed, we're going to be eating 4 times a day, and our portions will continue to increase over time as the refeed continues. But more on that later. So grab yourself some water and let's jump into our lessons today. Lessons for review. We're going to be looking at 2, and I had a pretty interesting meditation related to these 2, so I can't wait to share that with you as well. All right, our ideas for today. First lesson, only God's plan for salvation will work. It is senseless for me to search wildly about for salvation. I have seen it in many people and in many things, but when I reached for it, it was not there. I was mistaken about where it is. I was mistaken about what it is. I will undertake no more idle seeking. Only God's plan for salvation will work, and I will rejoice because His plan can never fail. These are some suggested forms for applying the idea specifically. God's plan for salvation will save me from my perception of this person, place, thing, situation, memory, you know the deal. This is no exception in God's plan for my salvation. Let me perceive this only in the light of God's plan for salvation. Second lesson for review. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that God's plan for salvation will not work. Yet only His plan will work. By holding grievances, I am therefore excluding my only hope of salvation from my awareness. I would no longer defeat my own best interest in this insane way. I would accept God's plan for salvation and be happy. Specific applications for this idea might be in these forms. I am choosing between misperception and salvation as I look on this, that thing. I see grounds for grievances in this. I will not see the grounds for my salvation. This calls for salvation, not attack. So that thing, that word this, that's where you insert all your garbage, all your junk, you know what's in there. I don't need to tell you. Okay, so the download that I got with these 2 lessons this morning, I love how they're linked together, because what happens when I go into the meditation space is it's kind of like a 2-part thing that happens. So the first part, only God's plan for salvation will work. What came to me, I was actually in this room basically, and there were 2 different people who were both blindfolded, and Jesus was kind of off to the side, and one of the people that was blindfolded was like super fast getting up there's 2 beds in here, so was really fast getting out of bed, but had no energy and would immediately fall on the ground, or they would try to get back up and like hit the wall. Meanwhile, the door was open the whole time, but they was blindfolded, so they just kept like getting up with all this energy and then falling over and never quite getting to the door, always like smacking the wall, and it looked awful. So then the other blindfolded person was the one who was clearly like the victim suffering, who kind of like slithered out of bed, was barely able to have any energy, barely able to move at all. And you could just tell they were sort of doing one of these, like, oh God, I'm never going to find it. It was like the pity, poor, pathetic thing. So it was like this highly insane, maybe narcissistic, overworked, Western-minded person, and then this really victim-based, like, please feel sorry for me, Western person. I feel like they were both like two spectrums of like the Western way, basically, for like, you know, the normal people. I hate saying that, but that's just what came out. So anyway, so again, the door was open the whole time, but neither one could get their act together enough to like walk out. And apparently outside the door was salvation. So then what Jesus does is he kind of like comes back into view again, and then both of these individuals combine. So just when you thought it was good to take sides with the hyper energetic one or the lethargic, pathetic sloth one, they're actually the same person. They're probably actually parts of me, and it was the lesson for me to be shown anyway. But, you know, without getting deeper into my own journey, I think it was just to show that we're all one. So Jesus kind of brought them both together. They're still blindfolded, and he has his hand behind the being's back, and then takes his hand and lowers the blindfold, and then they can see, oh, I just walk outside, and a hummingbird just showed up right out here. So adorable. So Jesus is holding them, and they've got the blindfold down, and the person steps out onto the front porch out here. And it's literally like out here. There's actually, you walk down the steps and there's a path that leads up to where the community area is. So as this being walks out, and it was actually me, I walk out and then my feet are totally stuck. So the way I feel like is everything that happened inside here was like, only God's plan for salvation will work. I needed Jesus's help to show me there was an open door. I needed Jesus's help to take the blindfold off me, which represents, when it says this in all these little places, that's all my this stuff, right? That's the blindfold. So once we finish that portion and I step outside, I'm into holding grievances, and it is an attack on God's plan for salvation. So I'm trying to move and step out into the path, and my feet are stuck on the front porch out there. And then I look back at Jesus and I'm like, what the hell? You know? And then all of a sudden, all my this people start walking the path in front of me, and I'm having to observe them and watch them pass by and know that, oh, those represent all my grievances, people, places, things, memories, whatever. So it was really interesting to see that parade. And then at one point there was a traffic jam, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, you know, do I have a chance at salvation? Is this possible for me to get through this? And I kind of went through a little bit of a fear phase. And then eventually the line kept moving and there was no one there. So my feet never got unstuck, and I never actually saw the end of it. I guess to be continued is that tail. But it was really helpful for me to be able to see, like, I guess the way it could apply to more people is like, we all have these different aspects of our personality that are trying in their own special little character way, like the intense person and the pathetic person. We all have a little bit of that inside of us, but it's all blindfolded because it's a false personality. It's made up because of untrue beliefs that we think are helping us in some way or giving us a leg up or an advantage in this world, where we're always told in the Course in Miracles we need do nothing rather than play these roles and overdo ourselves, overextend ourselves. So that's not getting us to salvation. God's plan for salvation is to be our true, authentic selves without a blindfold on, shining our hearts, calmly, observantly, stepping into moment to moment to see what's there for us and not try to control it or manipulate it. And then when I walked outside of the cabin and I saw that parade of people, it's like, these are your attacks, and it's going to literally, there's a traffic jam. You can't get to your salvation until you truly let all these people, places, and things go. And then the path clears, and then you'll be able to step off the porch and continue on your journey. So I don't know. I just thought it was really cool that it used this particular, you know, environment that I'm in once again to help reinforce the idea that I'm studying for today. So it helped me see it really well. Hopefully that helps you. Um, I'll step on through a little bit, step on through to my journey here with the refeeding process. I just want you guys to know, like, the little bit of food that we've been getting, which the portions have been increasing each day. The first day we ate 5 times, yesterday we ate 4 times, and the portions are going to get larger. I had the most amazing ripe pineapple that I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, I guess Costa Rican pineapple is famous because Costa Rican pineapple is. And it was so, so, so good. I can't even tell you how amazing the flavor was and the juice and just everything. It was just like, oh my God. And after having not eaten for so long, apparently our tongues are basically rebuilt and our taste buds are given a reset. So even, and the papaya too. I mean, my God, it's like eating a solid piece of like maple syrup mixed with heaven or something. I mean, everything just tastes so delicious to me. But one thing I wanted to say about pineapples is that if when you buy them in the grocery store and they're green, there's nothing you can do about that. Like if you take it home and let it get, you think you're ripening it, but you're really just letting it get older because you might cut it open, it's still yellow on the inside and it should be more golden colored. So apparently what happens in our system where we have a lot of produce being shipped all over the world is they pick them early and people just have like a less sweet, more starchy version of a pineapple. But man, if you can come to Costa Rica and get a fresh one, ooh. Now the other thing is I want to share with you, could be a little TMI, but for those of you who are following along on like my bodily personal journey, I actually had a bowel movement in the middle of the night. And this is the first one that I've had since, well, for like 25 days. And you would think maybe it would be substantial, but no, because all I had was water for the whole entire water fast. And the water was actually rehydrating old waste, and it was also rehydrating plaque in the arteries. It was doing lots of maintenance work inside of the blood vessels, inside of the cells, all over the body. And then it, processes out the waste material through whichever channel is appropriate. So the way this bowel movement felt, it was not very big. It was maybe like a little smaller than like my knuckles, maybe like 2 pieces like that. And it was hard. It was very light colored, and it almost felt like it was covered in a light coating of like sandpaper. So let me tell you something. I mean, there were days in this water fast where I drank 2 gallons of water a day for like 3 days in a row. So the waste that was inside of my intestines, and those of you who know me well know that I've been working on eating really healthy and, juicing and smoothieing and all these things that I've been doing for like a couple years now. There's still dehydrated waste inside of me that was so dehydrated after drinking all that water and having nothing else. It still came out dry. I mean, I was blown away when I experienced that sensation. And, the color of it, I was surprised that it wasn't like darker or it didn't smell. But I think there's this concept of like first in, last out. So maybe that was more new and just like a lot of foods that had been dehydrating me that I've eaten recently, but maybe as I get on as my bowel system continues to work properly and continue to remove all the stuff that came from the cleanse or the fast that I did, maybe the consistency will change, the smell will change, I don't know. But for those of you interested, like this is what happens. The body has these abilities to try to take care of things the best that it can, and this is just what I'm going through, so I wanted to share it. I feel really happy and I have so much more energy. I'm definitely not up to my full Sherry, but I feel like I'm getting there really fast. And another thing I wanted to reflect on is like when you take your body to the brink of uncertainty. Like I've never done a 21-day water fast before. I had no idea how this was going to feel, how I was going to do, or anything. I didn't know if I was going to live. I mean, honestly, I knew, from hearing about people doing 40, 50-day fasts, I would probably survive, but I'm me. I don't know. I have a certain upbringing, a family, genetic constitution, all this stuff. Like there was a part of me that was like, I really don't know what's going to happen. Could this be the end of my life? I don't know. So when you invite your body into that place where your mind doesn't have all the answers, cannot control, cannot manipulate, and then you learn how to just move your consciousness aside and allow the body to kind of do its cleanup. It's fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating what it will do, because there's one thing I know for sure, and I'm sure all of you feel this way too. If you don't feel it consciously, at a deeper level you do. Your body is always there for you. It has never left you. It never hurts you on purpose. The only reason you have pain and suffering is because of probably your lifestyle, your habits, perhaps your genetic disposition, but probably not. So the body does everything it possibly can to be there for you, to do for you. And if you set the conditions for it to really renew itself, I'm expecting amazing changes. I mean, I'm still in it, so I can't tell you how I'm going to feel when this whole experience is over, but I will. And you'll just get to share this with me. So thank you so much. Tonight is our meetup night. It's Tuesday, and I'd like to keep my commitment with doing these once a month. So the only reason, if for some reason I'm not there, it's because the power went out or I wasn't able to get a spot in the internet area, which those two things are unlikely, but if I'm not there, that's the only reason why. So I hope to see all of you this evening, and thanks so much for joining me, studying the lessons with me. I'm glad that you're giving me feedback that you're getting something out of it and that sharing my meditations is helpful. So I'll continue to do that, and I'll continue to encourage you to drink water and to love yourself unconditionally, to love your brother, to not be afraid, to be more gentle, more kind, more inspired every moment of your life, because your path is beautiful and what you have to bring is perfect and can only come from you. So have an awesome day, and I'll see you later.